Okay, so today's lesson, it says lesson 2, unit rates. This is not a mistake. You did not miss class somehow for lesson 1. We're actually not going to do lesson 1. Lesson 1 is just a lesson on how to write ratios and compare ratios, and that's something you should have done in 6th grade. My first year teaching here, we did not, the kids were coming from a different math program. They didn't have the program that we used last year, so we needed to do that lesson. So we're just going to move right into the lesson on unit rates. Our objectives are to find unit rates and costs, and to compare costs using unit costs. Okay, so first, a rate is a ratio of two things that are measured in different units. So for example, we might find miles per hour. We have two different units. We're comparing how many miles are in how many hours, and they're different units. If the units are different, one is miles, one is hours, that's what makes it a rate. Here we're finding the cost per ounce, or per however many ounces. And here, grams of fat, should be a line there, per serving. When we find a unit rate, a unit rate is the rate for 1 unit of something. To find the unit rate, you divide the first quantity by the second quantity.
Honey bear. What do you tip right? Huh? How about this? Okay.
Okay, so for example, if you want to find how many miles are in 1 hour, say you know that you traveled 36 miles and it took you 2 hours, and you want to find how much is going to be how many miles you traveled in 1 hour, you're just going to divide the number of miles by the number of hours. So we have our example here. Mark traveled 6 miles in 30 minutes. How many miles could he travel in 1 minute? Okay, so first we have a ratio. I think that this is going to move. What would my ratio be? David?
The answer.
Oh, you know the answer. Anyone know what the ratio would be? Nick? Miles to minutes. Okay, I think this moves. Yes, it does. There we go. So you have 6 miles in 30 minutes. You just have to write yours underneath. So you can go 6 miles in 30 minutes. We want to know how much he can travel in 1 minute, so we're just going to do 6 divided by 30, and that's going to give us the amount that he can do in 1 minute. So let's take a look at that. Oh, that just gives us the answer. Let me write it on here. Okay, so if we have 6 miles divided by 30 minutes, we get 0.2, and we can say he travels 0.2 miles per minute. If you wanted to know how many minutes it takes to go 1 mile, you would write it the other way. You'd write it as 30 minutes over 6 miles and do 30 divided by 6. So whatever you're finding the unit of needs to always go on the bottom. Okay, another example. A package of cheddar cheese contains 15 servings and has a total of 147 grams of fat. Find the unit rate of grams of fat per serving. What ratio would we set up? You want to find the unit rate of grams of fat per serving, so what needs to go on the bottom? The 15 would be on the bottom because we're finding grams of fat per serving. Good. So we want grams of fat per serving. So the serving needs to go on the bottom, the 15, and on top we need grams of fat. So we're going to put 147. And then if we do that division, that's going to tell us how many grams of fat are in 1 serving. So 147 divided by 15 works out to be 9.8 grams of fat per observing. Okay, the next one is a quick check. It's one for you to try, so go ahead and finish copying this if you're still copying it. The rest of you, go ahead and start the quick check. Okay, volunteer to tell me the ratio we set up for this. Kayla?
210
Okay, so we want 210 heartbeats over 3 minutes because we want to know how many heartbeats are in 1 minute. What do we get when we do? Go ahead, keep going, Kayla. 70. Good. So our answer is 70 heartbeats per minute. Okay, any questions so far about how to do unit rates? Okay, let's go on. The next example has fractions in it. So we're finding a unit rate using fractions. This is more the type of problem you're going to see more often because they want you to be proficient at working with fractions. Cindy walks 6/10 of a mile in 1/4 of an hour. What is her speed in miles per hour? So what is our ratio going to look like for this problem? Volunteer? Nick?
6/10 over 1/4.
Good. 6/10 over 1/4. We want miles per hour. So we want 6/10 over 1/4. Here's one of these compound fractions that we had. We did some work on this when you did expressions on Study Island. So this just means 6/10 divided by 1/4, but it's kind of like fractions within a fraction. So this means, I'm going to write this out using just a regular division sign because it's easier to keep track of what we're doing. It means 6/10 divided by 1/4. Now, do you remember how we divide fractions? Megan?
You change the sign to multiplication and
Okay.
then you let the second fraction.
Good. So we multiply by the reciprocal when we're dividing a fraction. Now we look for ways that we can cross simplify. If I look at this diagonal, I can't do anything. But if I look at this one, 2 is a common factor of both 4 and 10. 2 goes into 4 twice, and it goes into 10 5 times. Multiplying across, 6 times 2 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. So I have 12 over 5. I think it makes sense here to convert that to a mixed number because it means a little more to us that way. So if I convert that to a mixed number, I get 2 and 2/5 miles per hour. You could also express it as a decimal. It would be 2.4 miles per hour. You write it as a decimal. Okay, next one is another quick check. So I'll give that one a try. Okay, let's go over the quick check. Find the unit rate for 3/10 miles in 3/4 hour. First, tell me what the ratio would be. David?
3/10 miles over 3/4.
Good, so we'd have 3/10 over 3/4. Okay, let's write that out as regular division. 3/10 divided by 3/4. What do I need to do to divide a fraction, Michael?
Change the division sign to multiplication.
Okay, so let me just show an arrow and we can go over here. 3/10 times, how much?
And then flip flop.
Got it.
Multiply by the reciprocal.
Multiply by the reciprocal. That is so much more precise in language than just flip-flop. Thank you, Michael. Okay, can we simplify before we multiply?
Yeah, 4, 2,
Okay,
and then,
10 would be
10, 5.
5. What about the other diagonal?
1 and 1.
1 and 1. Okay, so I end up with
2/5.
2/5. That is correct. So it's 2/5 miles per hour. Okay, any questions about this? Okay. Let's let's move on. We're going to look at an example where we use unit cost to compare, and this is out of your textbook. Two sizes of shampoo bottles are shown. Which size is the better buy? Round to the nearest cent. Now the nice thing when you're shopping, you usually don't have to figure stuff like this out. If you're at Giant, if you're grocery shopping with your parents, take a look. Oftentimes they have, when you have a little price tag on the shelf, it will tell you what the unit cost is. So you can actually compare without doing the math. But if you're in a store where it doesn't have that displayed, or say you're comparing prices you found on the internet from two different stores, this is a very practical thing to be able to do. So in order to find which size is the better buy, we need to find the unit cost of each size. So we're going to find the cost for 1 ounce. How much does it cost to buy 1 ounce of shampoo? So let's first look at the first bottle of shampoo. I'll circle this one in brown. Okay, this one costs $6.19, and we get 16 ounces of that shampoo. So we have $6.19 divided by 16. That works out to be 0.39. So if I add a dollar sign, it's 39 cents per ounce. Okay, now let's look at this bottle of shampoo. Okay, this bottle costs $3.99. And you get 11.5 ounces. When we do $3.99 divided by, oh, I'm sorry, what's it?
13.
That's 13, I can see that up there. 13.5. Okay, we get 0.30 or 30 cents an ounce. So our best buy is always going to be the one that's cheapest, right? We don't want to spend more per ounce for something. So our best buy in this case is actually the smaller bottle of shampoo. And usually when you're shopping, the bigger size usually ends up to be the bigger value, but that's not always true, especially if the smaller size is on sale. So a lot of people buy the bigger size just because they think it's going to be cheaper, but you should always do the math to check, because in this case, this one was definitely our better buy.
If I was buying something like that, I wouldn't care because it's 9 cents difference.
Well, yeah, but 9 cents difference adds up when you're looking at your whole grocery bill. Okay, next one is another quick check. Let's actually talk through this one together because then we also have an exit ticket. Okay, so which bottle of apple juice is the better buy? 48 fluid ounces for $3.05 or 64 fluid ounces for $3.59. Let's see, I'm going to use the cards to randomly choose someone. Bella, can you tell me what I would do first?
Have 3.05 on the top part
Okay,
and 48 on the bottom.
good. I want cost per ounce, so I put cost on top, ounce on the bottom. Okay, someone who probably has a calculator handy, I would highly recommend you use a calculator to do these. You certainly can do the math on paper, but for things like this, you're probably going to be more accurate and work a little more quickly if you do use your calculator. Okay, anyone have an answer to this? No one has, okay. Kayla?
0.064.
Okay, 0.064. So how many cents is that, Kayla?
6 cents.
It's about 6 cents, 6.4 cents. You can't technically have 0.4, but you know, over time, those small amounts add up. Okay, what would I do next? Nathan?
Fine jelly.
Okay, good. Find my other unit rate. And how do I do that?
3.59 over 64.
Okay. Anyone want to do that real quick? Tell me what you get. Go ahead.
0.056.
Okay, 0.056. So this one is about 5.6 cents. Now, if we rounded both of these, it would look like they cost the same, because this would round to 6 cents, and the second one would also round to 6 cents. So we actually don't want to round these if we can avoid it, because sometimes we have to go out to that next decimal place. So which bottle is our better buy? David?
64.
This one, yeah, the 64 ounce would be our better buy. So the 64 ounces for $3.59 is our better buy because it is cheaper. Okay, exit ticket, let's see, we have plenty of time, so on the exit ticket, I'm just gonna come around and check this. And your assignment is, of course, the accelerated math 7 assignment. This is in your textbook.